Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jayadvaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela, Chapter 2, Text 95, Translation and Commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Oh, should I pronounce it in Bengali? Vaishnav Hoya Jeba Sariraka-bhasya Shune Sheba Shebak Bhav Chari Apanare Ishar Mane Vaishnav Hoya Jeba Sharirak Bhasya Shune Sheba Shebak Bhavachari Apanare Ishar Mane Vaishnav Hoya Jeba Sharirak Bhasya Shune Sheba Shebak Bhavachari Apanare Ishar Mane Vaishnav Hoya Jeba Sharirak Bhasya Shune Sheba Shebak Bhavachari Apanare Ishar Mane Sheba Shebak Bhavachari Apanare Ishar Mane Vaishnav Hoya Jeba Sharirak Bhasya Shune Sheba Shebak Bhavachari Apanare Ishar Mane. Any ladies, please? Vaishnav Hoya Jeba Sharirak Bhasya Shune Sheba Shebak Bhavachari Apanare Ishar Mane Vaishnav Hoya, being a Vaishnav, Jeba, anyone who, Sariraka-bhasya, the Mayavada commentary, Sariraka-bhasya. Shune, listens to, Savior Sevak Bhava, the Krsna conscious attitude that the Lord is the master and the living entity is his servant. Chari, giving up. Apanare, himself. Ishvara, the Supreme Lord. Mane, considers. when a Vaishnava listens to the Sariraka-bhasya, the Mayavada commentary, upon the Vedanta-sutras, he gives up the Krishna conscious attitude that the Lord is the master and the living entity is his servant. Instead, he considers himself the Supreme Lord. Purport: the philosophers known as Kevaladvaitavadis generally occupy themselves with hearing the Sariraka-bhasya, a commentary by Shankaracharya advocating that one impersonally consider oneself the Supreme Lord. Such Mayavada philosophical commentaries upon the Vedanta-sutra are simply imaginary, but there are other commentaries on the Vedanta-sutra. The commentary by Srila Ramanujacharya, known as, anyone? Sri Bhashya, establishes the Vishishtadvaitavad philosophy. Similarly, in the Brahma Sampradaya, Madhvacharyas, anyone? Purna Pragya Bhashya. Purna Pragya is a name of Vishnu, one with all, means he who has all cognizance, all wisdom. Pragya, Purna means complete, and Purna Pragya is also a name of Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya is Purna Pragya Bhasha. So that's a very suitable name for a commentary on Vedanta Sutras, because Vedanta Sutras are concerned with pragya, or coming to the platform of what in English we'd call wisdom. Well, there's in the English-speaking world, there's no such thing as actual wisdom. It's a rough translation. Purna Pragya Bhasha establishes the Brahma Sampradaya. Madhvacharya's Purna Pragya Bhasha establishes Shuddha Dvaitavada, although generally called Dvaitavada, but to distinguish from Dvaita and other Dvaita, other manifestations of Dvaitavad. In the Kumar Sampradaya or Nimbaka Sampradaya, Sri Nimbaka establishes the philosophy of Dvaita-Dvaitavada in the Parijat Saurabh Bhasha. Parijat is the name of a very sweet smelling flower, and Saurabh refers to the good smell. So it's a metaphorical name. You know how to say metaphorical? He got held up there. Rupak is the Sanskrit word for metaphor. And in the Vishnu Swami Sampradaya or Rudra Sampradaya, which comes from Lord Shiva, Vishnu Swami has written a commentary called Sarvagya Bhasha, which establishes Shuddhadvaitavad. Now, of course, in the modern age, the Vallabhacharya is said to be Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, although practically the Sampradaya died out and he tagged himself onto it. That you could say analogously to the way that the Gauriya Sampradaya is also tagged onto the Madhva Sampradaya, although there are differences. Recognized differences means recognized by our acharyas, but as a Vaishnava should study the commentaries on the Vedanta Sutras written by the four Sampradaya Acharyas, namely Sri Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami, and Nimbaka. Okay, you want to be a Vaishnava, you should study the commentaries. Prabhupada says, you study the commentaries. It's not for everyone. The point is that Vaishnavas study these commentaries. Usually they'll study one of them, depending on which Sampradaya they're in, and not the Sariraka-bhasya of Shankaracharya, written by the four Sampradaya Acharyas. Here the word Sampradaya Acharyas used. I'll just make a little point here that sometimes, or often, we hear that Srila Prabhupada is referred to as Sampradaya Acharya, but it's not exactly. Well, in some ways it's correct to say so, in other ways it's not correct to say so. Because every acharya is a sampradaya acharya. If he's not in a sampradaya vihinaye mantras tu nishvalate mata. Whatever mantra he gives is useless if you're not in a proper sampradaya. But the term sampradaya acharya particularly refers to the 4 acharyas who founded the sampradaya. Srila Prabhupada is the founder acharya of ISKCON, but if we say he's a sampradaya acharya, that gives the sense that ISKCON is something completely new and different, which it's not. So it's to call Srila Prabhupada a sampradaya acharya gives the sense that you're separating ISKCON from the rest of the Gauriya sampradaya, which is wrong to do that. 4 sampradaya acharyas, namely Sri Ramanujacharya, Madhva Acharya, Vishnu Swami, and Nimbaka, for these commentaries are based upon the philosophy that the Lord is the master and that all living entities are his eternal servants. Yeah, here in the verse we have Savior, Sevak. Savior means the proper receptacle of service. Sharanya, we have the Sharanyam. Who is worthy? Who is the proper person to take shelter of? So there are many constructions like that. Are his eternal servants. One interested in studying Vedanta philosophy properly must study these commentaries, especially if he is a Vaisnava. These commentaries are always adored by Vaishnavas. The commentary by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati is elaborately given in the Adi Leela chapter 7, text 101. I want to make a note there. The commentary. That's 3295. The Mayavada commentary, Sariraka-bhasya, is like poison for a Vaishnava. It should not be touched at all. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur remarks that even a Mahabhagavat, or highly elevated devotee, who has surrendered himself under the lotus feet of Krsna, sometimes falls down from pure devotional service if he hears the Mayavada philosophy of the Sariraka-bhasya. This commentary should therefore be shunned by all Vaishnavas. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurin Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Shreshtham Manamapi Shatiputram Atra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajamurupurim Mathurim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Ataf Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now continuing the topic that devotional service, Haituki Bhakti, pure devotional service, unmotivated devotional service, has no material cause. And you may wonder why I chose to speak on this verse. What's its relationship with that topic? And you may wonder why I'm even speaking on this topic at all. It all seems rather technical. Well, the reason is that in this verse, although it specifically refers to Mayavada, but it also it gives this very important term, Savior Sevak Bhav. The feelings between the Lord who is to be served, the proper object of service, and the servant. The feelings, well, especially this refers to the feelings of the devotee. Vaishnava, Hoya, Jeba. If one is a Vaishnava, then he has the feeling of being a servant. So he does his service with the happiness and confidence that Krishna is the right person to be served. But if he hears the Mayavada commentary, Sariraka-bhasya on Vedanta-sutras, then his spiritual life is completely spoiled. Jibe nishtalagi sutra koilo beas Mayavada bhasya shunle hoi sarvanash. Elsewhere, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu states, this verse at which we're reading today is actually spoken by Sarup Damodar, who is the alter ego, or the upper roop, or he's another manifest, practically he's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in many ways. He's Prabhurabhishta ta bhaka kaimon. It's described about him. He's completely absorbed in the mind, body, and words of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself personally said that Jibe nishta lagi sutra koilo beas, for the sake of uplifting the jivas, Vyasadeva compiled the Vedanta-sutras, but if one hears the Mayavada commentary upon it, he's completely spoiled. Why that is described here, that giving up the attitude, or in the case of one who's not a Vaishnava, never even adopting that attitude of being the servant, one gets the idea that I am the Ishvara, I am the controller, I am the master. Which brings one, the Mayavadis, aruhya kritrena parang patang tata, with great difficulty. They ascend to the spiritual plane, but they fall down again. Because they fail to worship the lotus feet of Krishna. They fail to properly respect the lotus feet of Krishna. They fall down. So materialistic consciousness is Ishvaro hamaham bhogi. I am the controller, I am the enjoyer. And Mayavadis, they want to get free from Maya, but they can't, because they're cultivating the idea that I'm not going to be God in Maya, I'm going to be real God. God beyond Maya. So they never give up the idea that I am the controller. Now, what's this all got to do with devotional service? Pure devotional service is causeless mercy? Well, one way is that the only way to cut through all this nonsense of thinking I am the controller, it's incredibly nonsensical when we're not the controller at all. Srila Prabhupada commented that there was someone who claimed himself to be God, but once he was in a public darshan, and then all of a sudden, he started screaming. He had a terrible toothache, and he had to be rushed off to the dentist. So God got a toothache. It's nonsense. We're not the controller. The very obvious example, someone may suddenly have to rush off to the toilet and you can't control it. If you have diarrhea or dysentery, you can't control it. And then you're calling yourself the supreme controller, taking that. So it's nonsense. And causeless mercy is the only way to go through it, to get free from this. Either Either one is thinking like this in the material consciousness. The dung beetle. Have you seen the little? You must have seen the little beetle who rolls a little ball of cow dung, rolls it along and makes it bigger and bigger. Here, I'm great controller. I'm rolling this big. For him, it's big ball of cow dung, or whatever dung. They called it in English a dung beetle. So he's thinking he's a controller, and then the big Mayavada is thinking he's the Ishvara also. So the only way to cut through that is by Krishna's causeless mercy, because we're so habituated to thinking like that even if we recognize this material world is suffering, and the idea of being the controller is the cause of suffering, then we try to take the spiritual remedy without Krishna, without worshipping Krishna's lotus feet. Anadrita. They fail to worship Krishna's lotus feet. Then you go up, but it's all illusory. You don't really. Yeah, you go up and you come down again. It's not really. Therefore, it's avishuddha buddhi. Avishuddha buddha. Their consciousness may be superficially purified by coming to the mode of goodness, but they're not fully purified. So that's one consideration. And another consideration, if we think that I am doing something by which I am getting the mercy, then again it's Ishvara Bhav. It's not really service. The service is that we just do it with the understanding I'm completely helpless. I can't do anything, even if I want to, for instance, clean the temple floor as a service, but the ability to move the hand, Krishna can withdraw it at any moment through his material energy. We may wish to do, but we don't have the physical ability to do so. And you'll find that happens to everyone who passed his life as a Vaishnava. When you're young, you can dance. As you get older, you can't dance so much. When you're younger, you can play the mridanga. Later on, you may get this arthritis. I've seen in Bengal so many old mridanga players. They're well known, but they can't. But in the past, but they can't play anymore because their hands are arthritic, their fingers. So the desire to do so may be there, but the ability to do so may not be there. So one has to understand that I'm completely dependent upon Krishna. Without this understanding, we can't actually be devotees. I'm completely dependent on Krishna and Krishna's mercy. Even to perform devotional service, I require his mercy. Even to be allowed to perform devotional service, it requires the mercy of Krishna and his devotees. Now, generally Krishna gives that mercy because his nature is to be merciful, and he wants to deliver everyone. And therefore we have you chant the holy names of Krishna, you'll get Krishna's mercy. You clean the temple of Krishna, you'll get Krishna's mercy. But generally Krishna will reciprocate. That's his nature to do so. But at the same time, if we're thinking it's some kind of mechanical formula that now I'm cleaning the floor, and then for sure I'm going to get Krishna's mercy, then we become disqualified for getting the mercy, because the mercy flows downwards like water. You can forcefully pump water up, but the nature of water is to come down. And mercy, you can't demand it. That's the very meaning of mercy. Dinere adhik daya kare bhavan, kulin pandit dhanir bharo abhiman. Krishna especially favors those who are very fallen, because those in human society who are of high birth, highly educated, and wealthy, they tend to be very proud. And then you're disqualified from Krishna's mercy. So to be a poor man is not the qualification to get Krishna's mercy, and to be a rich man is not necessarily a disqualification. But generally it's like that, that someone by pious activities, they get material facilities in which they're of a higher social status than others, and then they become puffed up, and they mistreat others, and they misuse their material facilities for sense enjoyment, and then they fall down because they're spiritual, because of the sinful activities, and because they fall down, they get birth in low family, and then they pray to God, and they become more pious, and then they get elevated, and then it goes on and on and on, up and down like this. So to cut through all this requires the causeless mercy of Krishna, which is generally manifested through his devotees. Just yesterday we read about how by associating with the devotees and hearing from them, one can one can attain faith in the devotees and faith in devotional service. In this regard, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has stated in his Jaiva Dharma, for Bahimuk, materialistic persons, hearing about Krishna occurs by chance, not because of applied Shraddha. Just all of you are coming here to hear topics of Krishna consciousness because you have faith in such topics. Other people, they may hear without making any endeavor to do so, just by chance. What that chance means, well, we'll leave it. I won't discuss that right now. We're just shortly coming to an explanation of this by Srila Prabhupada. However, such hearing by materialistic persons, such hearing is designated as bhakti-unmukhi sukriti, piety based on nascent devotional inclination, and if continued, may eventually beget shraddha in some later life. So somehow or other, if one comes in contact with devotees and somehow, especially if somehow or other hears something about Krishna consciousness, or in some way serve a devotee, he may not become devotionally inclined, but may, in a future life, become devotionally inclined. We often see that young men join this Krishna consciousness movement to surrender their life in Krishna's service, and the parents become very unhappy, but they don't even know that their son is benefiting them by doing so. They may even make offenses to devotees, but still they may criticize them and make court cases against them, all kinds of things. But they don't know that they're being benefited, even against their will. They may not want to be Krishna conscious, but they're getting benefited by their son's devotional service. And we often tell them this when they come complaining to us, but they can't understand it at all. But that benefit that they're getting will gradually will arise, will become manifest. It will manifest. And it often happens that even in this lifetime, that they change their attitude. When they realize there's no hope and my son is lost, then they think, well, and again coming, seeing the devotees, and then, especially if they see that the devotee is being honored by others, very nice. Or if he has some position, oh, my son's temple president, something, then they think, okay, that's good. So materialistic consciousness, but applied in devotional service, and somehow they become favorable. Elsewhere, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur states in his Harinam Chintamani, Bhakti-unmukhi, becoming Bhakti-unmukhi, favorable or inclined to devotional service, involves faith in and appreciation of pure devotional service. Such exalted piety is achieved by unknowing performance of pure devotional service without spiritual knowledge, agyata sukriti. Bhakti Unmukhi is the most important kind of sukriti, distinguished from Bhoga Unmukhi and Moksha Unmukhi. That the piety that leads to devotion, to material enjoyment, and which leads to liberation. And practically it's the only real sukriti. And it leads the jiva to meet a pure saintly devotee. So we have Brahmanda Pramite Kono Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. Because Krishna arranges for someone who is Kono Bhagye Kare Kono Bhagye Shangsha Kshayan Mukh Hoy. We read that yesterday. If someone's just in that situation where they're ready, where they're fed up with their situation, and if they're fortunate, then Krishna will arrange. And what's the next line? Sadhu Sange. You got that? Sadhu Sange Tobe Krishna Rati Upajay. Then by the association of devotees, their feelings for Krishna awaken. So this good luck comes if one's heart is in, even without one's knowing, but because one has performed some pious activities in relationship to devotees or devotional service, then the natural inclination of the heart, which is the Jaiva Dharma, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he titles this important book, Jaiva Dharma, the actual dharma or inclination or proper activity or nature of the living being, of every living being. So when he comes in contact with devotional service, even unknowingly, even though the consciousness is very, very deeply covered by anadi karama phale pari bhavarnava jala, since time immemorial fallen in the material ocean, and just unlimited material inclinations, because at every moment we experience something or we think of something, and everything we experience and we think, whether it's an experience we enjoy or we don't enjoy, or we don't even notice, just like there is peripheral vision. That means I can look at something. Okay, I'll look at this clock up on that pillar. And when I'm looking at that, at the same time, without my even being aware of it, there are things, other things which I'm seeing. Okay, look at that clock. So you can all look. But when you look, you also see so many other things. You know, in the story of Dronacharya and his disciples, they made the model of a bird on a tree, and this is archery practice. So I asked one of them, okay, get your arrow ready to shoot. You have to shoot the eye of the bird. So one is standing there with his bow and arrow. What do you see? I see the eye of the bird. What else do you see? Well, I see the whole bird. What else do you see? I see the branches. Okay, get out. Don't even bother. And others were asked, what do you see? And eventually I think Duryodhana said, I see the bird and the eye. Okay, you're all. And lastly, Arjuna came and said, I see the eye of the bird. And what else do you see? I don't say anything, only the eye. Okay, now you shoot. Because we see things, peripheral vision. Even if you're looking at one thing, we see other things also. We may not even be aware of it. But even that makes some impression in our consciousness. And it's going on even in our sleep when we dream. You may have had the experience that you're dreaming and then there's some noise from outside. So you're in a room and then outside someone starts screaming or something. And then in your dream, someone starts screaming also. Something like that. Not exactly, but you've all probably had experiences how external consciousness and dreaming consciousness, it all merges together. And just the other night, I was reading something at night. Oh yeah, Prabhupada said he was talking about Sweden for some reason or other. He'd been in Sweden, and then in my dream I was dreaming of Sweden. And I thought, why am I dreaming of Sweden? And in my dream I thought, and then as far as I remember, because when you wake up, when you wake up at that time in the peripheral stage, you're not sure whether you're awake or asleep. So I thought, oh yeah, just before I took rest, I was reading about Prabhupada in Sweden. So the consciousness, it's very subtle, and the psychologists, they try to understand it. And it's very, very difficult to understand everything about it, but at every moment, we think something. We're doing something at every moment, mentally also. Nahi kasya kshanamapi jatu tishtya karma krit. Physically we're doing something, and mentally, the mind never... There is a state of consciousness, deep sleep, beyond the dreaming stage, sushupti, beyond the dreaming state. But at that time, one's consciousness is supposed to... You're not conscious of anything. But at that time, the consciousness reaches Brahman in one way, according to the Acharyas. But Srila Prabhupada also gives the example, and of course Srila Prabhupada is quoting previous Acharyas, that actually there is consciousness in that state also, because when you wake up, you say, I slept very deeply. Which means that even indirectly there was some consciousness of being practically unconscious. So at every moment we're conscious, and at every moment everything we see, do, touch, taste, smell, feel, hear, think, or dream about, we react to that, even not knowingly in our consciousness. Sankalpa vikalpa. We like something, we don't like something, we try to get something for our enjoyment, we try to avoid something which is non-enjoyable. And this is going on for millions of lifetimes, in millions of births. And how much the consciousness becomes covered by unlimited experiences and desires. How are you going to cut through all that? It has to be by Krishna's mercy. Otherwise, it's not possible. And that mercy, even a little, just like someone's in the body of a dog, and there's little prasad on the street. He has somehow it's fallen on the road. He has no idea it's prasad, he eats it, and he goes on. He never thinks anything else about it. But because his real consciousness is Krishna consciousness as a jiva, and because Krishna is very merciful, and because prasad is non-different from Krishna, then there'll be awakening. That the effect of coming in contact with that prasad, his mundane senses come in contact with something that is spiritual, but he just takes it. A dog has no idea of mundane spiritual. The dog's not a philosopher. He has no idea to distinguish between mundane and spiritual. Most human beings don't either. Even religious people who believe in God. You ever heard in, well, I don't think, any of you raised in a Christian culture? Were you? No. Were you raised in a Christian culture? No. From Slovakia? They're not Catholics over there? But you were from a communist family or something. You must have been. You're a Pole, right? They're really Catholic. So I was raised as a Catholic also. So any discussion of spiritual and material, distinguishing between the two, no such idea. Their whole idea of God is someone who takes you up to heaven, which is like Poland without the winter or something like that. For the Poles, they think it's just like in England. The great English theologian C.S. Lewis, he wrote this whole Lion, Witch and Wardrobe series, Narnia. And at the end, they came to the conclusion that actually you go to heaven and it's just like England. Because he's from England. So he thinks, I guess for a Polish person, heaven must be like Poland. So And for the worm in stool, it must be like stool. But there's no idea of any distinction between material and spiritual, material consciousness, spiritual consciousness. Practically no. God is someone who's like your Father Christmas, Santa Claus. He just gives you things that you want for sense gratification. There's no such idea of any such thing. So our consciousness is so deeply covered, but dormant in the heart of everyone is Krishna consciousness, however covered they may be. And Krishna arranges, I'm always jumping ahead here, but I'll get to that. How Krishna comes to this world personally, sends his devotees, manifests himself as the holy Dham, so that if we come in contact somehow or other with Krishna, then that Krishna consciousness, which is covered by unlimited thoughts, experiences, desires, and both positive and negative, means desire to get something and desire to avoid something, ichcha, dvesha, desire for something, dislike of something, that connects. The spiritual energy connects. The spiritual energy of Krishna and Krishna's mercy connects with the jiva, who is dormant within the heart. It's practically dormant. The jiva is practically asleep. He has no idea that I am the servant of Krishna. And no, even if you tell him, he doesn't believe it. But somehow or other, if we bring people in contact with Krishna consciousness, we see how their Krishna consciousness awakens and people become happy and inclined to Krishna. But anyway, I'm getting ahead again. I'm now going to read from an extract from one of Srila Prabhupada's lectures, Nectar of Devotion lecture in Vrindavan on the 29th of October 1972. Srila Prabhupada says, so this Sukriti, this fortune, there is a chance which is called Ajnata Sukriti. Ajnata Sukriti means just like Krishna's representative is preaching all over the world. Who might that be? It's Prabhupada, of course. And if somebody comes in contact with that representative of Krishna and satisfies him, he acquires some Ajnata Sukriti. This is called Ajnata Sukriti. He does not know what spiritual benefit he's achieving by serving the representative of Krishna. He does not know, but he acquires it imperceptibly. Just to give one example, Srila Prabhupada, when he was first in America, before he had any followers, in New York City, he used to take his books to bookshops to give on consignment basis. That means put them in the store. If someone buys them, then the bookshop gives the amount to the publisher or the author, the book distributor, and they take their profit. And if they don't sell them, they give them back like that, so they don't lose anything. So Srila Prabhupada used to go around putting his books in the bookstores, and one woman who was owning the shop or working in the shop, he said, he would come and sometimes he would ask for a glass of water. And she said that, well, with anyone else, I'd just say, oh, the water cooler's over there. It's over there, go and help yourself. But because he was an old man, I used to go and get it and personally bring it to him. So she saw that as a kind of politeness to an old man. But she didn't realize she was serving a pure devotee. And not the outstanding service to give someone a glass of water. It's polite, it's a courtesy. But she did it to a pure devotee. So she was imperceptibly acquiring Ajnata Sukriti. This is called, Srila Prabhupada continues, this is called Ajnata Sukriti. So when Ajnata Sukriti is accumulated, then he becomes fortunate. That is called Kono Bhagavan Jeev. When accumulated, that makes the fortune of a person to associate with Guru and Krishna. Erupe Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagavan Jeev Guru Krishna Kripai Pai Bhakti Lata Bij. Yeah, Srila Prabhupada often used to quote the verse this way. Maybe it's in the Gauriya Mata edition, which we have in Srila Prabhupada's edition of Chaitanya Charitamrita, is based on the edition of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gauriya Math published. But there are other recensions also with somewhat different wordings in some verses. So, chants. Bhagyavan Jeev, who becomes fortunate? Srila Prabhupada explains in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 21, Text 27, purport, the theory of chants, scientific, mathematical theories of chants. So Srila Prabhupada is very aware of the theory of chants, because there was this idea that there was, you'll often see Srila Prabhupada talking about a chunk. I think that theory is out of date now, but there was a theory that there was some big chunk which exploded, and then everything happened by chance. So Srila Prabhupada refers here to the theory of chants. The theory of chants can best be explained in the Vedic literature by the words Ajnata Sukriti, which refer to pious activities performed without the actor's knowledge. Just like the woman bringing the water, she might have thought, I'm being good. She might not have even thought I'm being good, but she might have thought, if she's trained as a Christian or a Jew or whatever, that, yeah, this is the right thing. We should be good. Religion teaches you to be good. So she might have thought that, but she had no idea that she was serving a pure devotee. So pious activities performed without the actor's knowledge. So she knew she was doing something good, but she didn't know how good it was, because who she was serving. But these are also planned. For example, Krishna comes like an ordinary human being. He comes as a devotee like Lord Chaitanya, or he sends his representative, the spiritual master or pure devotee. This is also the planned activity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They come to canvass and educate, and thus a person in the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord gets a chance to mix with them, talk with them, and take lessons from them. And somehow or other, if a conditioned soul surrenders to such personalities and by intimate association with them chances to become Krishna conscious, he is saved from the material conditions of life. Okay, so what's the conclusion of all this discussion? It's coming from Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Dashmul Tattva. The conclusion is that the accumulation of many lifetimes of pious activities, sukriti, rewards one with good fortune, bhagya, which imbues the heart with faith, shraddha, and respect for saintly souls and their association. This shraddha, faith, gradually produces faith in devotional service and chanting, eradication of unwanted material desires in the heart, steadfastness in devotional service. In other words, we're going through ado, shraddha, tata, sadhu, sangha. Taste for it, I'm reading the translation. Taste for it, there's written in Bengali originally. Taste for it, single-minded attachment, and finally attraction and love for Krishna. In the lifetime when good fortune shines on the jiva, he is endowed with shraddha, faith. Thus, faith and saintly association are glorified as the root cause of all benedictions. So, good luck. In English, you sometimes say to someone, good luck. Generally one may say as a friendly, if someone's going away, you may say to them, good luck. Or you may say it in a somewhat sarcastic way if they're going to do something which you don't think they're going to succeed in. I'm going to persuade my boss to give me a pay rise. Good luck. Not very likely, it means. No one goes for pay rise these days because they're afraid they'll get laid off altogether. They're just so happy to have whatever job they have. There used to be a time. So we're looking for good luck, spiritual good luck. But Kali Yuga, one of the main symptoms, manda bhagya, it's an age of bad luck. Everyone's unlucky. But again, man is the master of his own fortune. as Srila Prabhupada sometimes used to quote. As is stated in Bhagavad Gita, Purusha Prakriti Stohi Bhunkte Prakriti Jan Gunan Karanam Guna Sangosyat Sadasadyoni Janmasu. We associate with the material modes of nature, although we're independent from it, we associate with it, and we accordingly get better or worse bodies, but that's not the verse I should have quoted. I should have quoted the, what's that? Bhuktritve hetu ruchyate. How does that begin? How does that verse begin? Purusha Prakriti. No, anyway. The purport is, what is it? Anyone? It's the next verse in the Bhagavad Gita. Purusha Sukha Dukhanam Bhuktritve Hetu Ruchite. Something like that. Anyway, we get different situations. We are the cause ourselves of our own happiness and distress in this material world. But we're not the cause of Krishna's mercy upon us. We can, by performing Vedic sacrifices and pious activities, we can elevate ourselves to the higher planets. So you may think, well, then if you're interested in that, then you may not believe in God. There's no need to. I'll just perform these activities, and there may be God, but anyway, He's bound to give me the result. This is the karma mimamsa idea. And the Mayavadis also think that by meditation and studying the Vedanta-sutras, I'll become liberated. That again, this aruhya kritrena, they go up by kritrena, by very difficult activity. It's very difficult, but you can do it. If you're at the bottom of a cliff, you might be able to climb up, and you might fall down also. But if someone comes with a helicopter and a long rope, then they can lift you up. So maybe you can climb up by your own effort. But if someone comes with a helicopter, then very quickly, you have to hold on also, but they can lift you up very quickly and very easily. So in Kali Yuga, everyone's got bad luck because of our sinful activities. But the devotees, Krishna sends his devotees to give us good fortune. It is our good fortune that we can come to Krishna consciousness. And the devotees, they make that good for, even for the unfortunate. As it's not recorded exactly there's no audio recording of it as far as I'm aware, but it's a well-known saying that once a devotee asked Srila Prabhupada that we're all very fallen, we did so many sinful activities, we don't have any piety, and said that pious people can take to devotional service. So how can we take? And Srila Prabhupada said, I have created your piety. So, because one moment, sadhu sangha, sarava shastre koi, lavamatra sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoy. One moment, if one, somehow or other, one bows down at the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada, or even someone who's sincerely trying to represent Srila Prabhupada, or of course, any Vaishnava, it's not just, we shouldn't think that, although we give all the greatest honor and respect to Srila Prabhupada, but we shouldn't think he's the only Vaishnava. There are other. That would be another kind of offensiveness to think like that. So that one activity that overrides unlimited millions of lifetimes of sinfulness, because it's pleasing to Krishna, and Krishna can wipe out unlimited sinfulness. Mamekam sharanang raja ahang tva sarva papebhyo mokshayashami masucha. Krishna can immediately clear away all the millions and million is a small word, it's just unlimited lifetimes of sinfulness. So Krishna sends his representatives into this world, and you may remember We read about Narad Muni, who was wandering, yadrichakaya, that's saying just as he willed. But it's not exactly aimless, because wherever he goes, he benefits everyone. And he comes to this world to benefit everyone. And you mentioned that yesterday, that Nalakuvra and Manigriva, what did they do to get Krishna's mercy? That they could be there in Vrindavan, witnessing Krishna's pastimes, to be personally delivered by him. What was their pious activity? There was no pious activity. They had the impious activity of bathing naked in the Mandakini Ganga, in the heavenly planets. Of course, in the heavenly planets, it may not be considered such a bad thing, because bathing naked with girls, that's what you go to the heavenly planets for, right? To enjoy all these kind of things. But they should have had enough, and they were drunk also, but they should have had enough sense to cover themselves when Narad came. But they didn't, so Narad cursed them. But Narad's curse is a great blessing. So what did they do? Krishna himself thought, what am I doing with these Nalakuvra and Manigra? I don't have anything to do. They're not interested in me, and I'm not particularly interested in them. But my devotees said they'll be delivered by me, so I have to deliver them. So that's Narad Muni's mercy. And devotees, they travel in this world to give out their mercy. That's what what is that in the Chaitanya Charitamrita? That's also stated. That I can't remember the Bengali now. That Mahantesh Bhav. How does that begin? How does that go on? Nijya Karja Nahe Mahantesh Bhav Tarite E Pamar. Nijya Karja Nahe Tabe Jai Onne Ghar. It means that great devotees, they have nothing in particular to do with materialistic people, but still they go to people's homes just to deliver them. It's their nature to deliver the fallen souls. They see people are suffering in Maya, so they try to deliver them. Srila Prabhupada stated in one lecture, there are many fortunate persons all over the world, and many unfortunate persons also. So those who are fortunate, they're taken to this Krishna consciousness, this ideal life, hopeful life, pleasant life, blissful life, life of knowledge. They're taking it. They're taking to it. But it is the duty of a Vaisnava to go door to door to make them fortunate. Nijya karja nahe tabe jai onne ghar. He has no personal work to do, but he goes to door. You'll find this again and again. Srila Prabhupada uses this phrase, door to door. Devotees go door to door. Although they are unfortunate, but you have to go door to door to make them fortunate. So we may say, well, how are we going to make them fortunate? We ourselves are just waking up from the stupor of Maya. We can take Prabhupada's books and make them fortunate. They can come in contact with Srila Prabhupada. And even someone who's just trying to be a devotee, they're also, they've got the mercy of Krishna. And they can deliver it to some extent. But the best way to do is to chant the holy names in public. That makes people fortunate, even though they may not know it, they may not like it. And we practically see all over the world, chanting the holy names, how people, they just, at least for the time they're there, they just change and they become happy. Some people become very angry. Why should they become very angry? It's just some people singing. Why should they become angry? Because they're demons. That's why. They don't like it at all. But as the chanting goes on more and more all over the world, then we'll find that there are less and less demons, but the demons will become more. That means more and more people will appreciate it, but then the real hardcore demons, they become more intense also. So we should go on chanting and bringing the mercy, distributing those books. These books, they change people's lives. And again, if kirtan, festivals, you see how people, they all like it. They don't even know why they like it. I remember a statement of Jayananda, Srila Prabhupada's dear disciple, that in New York City, the Rath Yatra, you see people, they start smiling, and you can see from the smile on their face, they probably never smiled in the last 50 years. And there really are people like that in New York City. Actually, there are people who, they never smile. In fact, you might have, it's not so much in Ireland, but in Britain, it's sometimes, for many people, it's like a weakness to smile, because you've always got to look tough. You'll find that in a place like Glasgow and Newcastle upon Tyne, and maybe it's changed now, because I haven't been living there for long, but you see people, always got this serious look on their face. Have you seen in America also? Be less in Texas, because it's warmer climate and people tend to be more relaxed in warm climates, but especially in the northern climate. Sweden, to get a smile out of anyone, it's almost like a crime. So actually, something happens. What happens? It's Lord Jagannath's mercy brought by the devotees. It's very difficult for people when devotees are blissfully chanting and dancing. It's very difficult for anyone being around that not to be affected by it. So they may be affected by becoming angry, and they may run away, but most people increasingly all over the world, they appreciate. They don't know why. They don't have any philosophy. They have no idea, but they think it's something very nice, very good. And that is their agyata sukriti, at least. And then if they become a little more inquisitive and think, why are they so happy all the time? And sometimes in America during those brainwashing cases, they use, why are they so happy all the time? There must be something wrong. Normal people are not happy like that all the time. So they're not normal. Something wrong with them. That normal is wrong, and Krishna consciousness is right. They don't understand that. So devotees bring the mercy, and we should really bring the mercy also. If we think that, okay, I'm a devotee and I have to try to make others fortunate, so somehow or other make people like devotees. Okay, why don't we give pairs of shoes to all the schoolboys in Andhra Pradesh? And then people will like us. Or maybe in one district. It can't be the whole of Andhra Pradesh. Recently it came in the news that ISKCON is giving shoes to schoolboys. So I'm saying, oh, that's very good. Oh, nice. Hare Krishna. Good people. But what happens, you do more and more of this. Feeding hungry people, giving school. Where's it all going to end? What are they going to do next? What's their next? But then people don't think of us as devotees of Krishna. They think that ISKCON is the society that gives away shoes to schoolboys. I hope it gives it to schoolgirls also, because in these days you have to be equal, right, to everyone. And we ourselves, we become unable to give the mercy. If we become overly preoccupied with making people like us, then we become unable to give them what they need to get from us. Because if we think, well, we'll speak in a comical way or tell some jokes and then people will like it. Sure, they'll like it if you're good at telling jokes. There are plenty of people trying to be professional comedians. They may like you. But then your own consciousness will become polluted by not talking about Krishna. And we become so concerned that people will like us that we become afraid to tell them what they need to hear, that we're all here in Maya and we have to surrender to Krishna. So that even when someone, okay, you're joking with them and you're telling them some stories and they like you and they may be getting some benefit because you're a devotee of Krishna. And then when someone comes to the point, well, what actually is your message between all these jokes? And what is the message? 4 R's? What is that? You told me something. 4 hours. And it didn't tell them that actually we're suffering in this material world because we're forgetting Krishna. We're meant to be eternally happy. By nature, we're spiritual living beings. You can't tell that. Srila Prabhupada, once he went on a radio show in California, I believe it was, and the interviewer asked him a question, "What is your message?" And Srila Prabhupada, he didn't immediately reply. He took some paper out, put it on the table, put his glasses on, coughed a little bit, and this is all on the radio. Radio is supposed to be boom, 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 boom. And then Prabhupada started reading, and he read for half an hour. It wasn't the kind of radio show you want, yeah, what about this? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. And it's always back and forward and exciting. It wasn't very good for the entertainment, but Prabhupada just gave a complete philosophical talk, and in between the interviewer, he couldn't really stop him, but he said, in between he'd say something like, yes, that's very interesting, and this, but Prabhupada just went on reading, just gave the message straightforward as it is. So we shouldn't be too, it's a tension between wanting to get people's attention and giving them what they need to get. But between the two, giving them what they need to get is more important than having people like us. Because if they like us for the wrong reason, then we can't give them what we really need to give them. That is the major point of my book on speaking strongly in Srila Prabhupada's service. Anyway, giving people these books, distributing the books, this temple is built so people can come and associate with devotees. They come here to see the God. Which God do you have in that temple? Oh, you have Krishna God. Yeah, I remember when I was a child, I used to go and see Murugan God. And my grandmother was a great devotee of Shiva God. And they think it's all the same. They have no idea. So they won't see God because they just see what... They don't know who is God. So you have to give them knowledge. Devotees. Also, here in India, people go to see if the Western devotees. It's an attraction. Still, people go to Mayapur. One major reason when they discuss among their friends, ordinary people, I'm talking about, there are so many Westerners there. It's a big thing for them to go and say, so many Westerners. The Westerners and their devotees, and they feel happy. Sometimes in Bengal, people would ask me, we're very happy. Our Gauranga's religion is going all over the world. They have no idea what. It's not our Bengali religion is going all over the. So it's a mundane way of thinking, but it's connected with the right thing. Agyata Sukriti, you could say. About 1979 or 1980, one Hindu social worker, as he called himself, came to see us in Dhaka, in our rented house that we had there. We were going all over the country and doing programs, kirtan programs. And at the time, the Hindus of Bangladesh were just coming to know, and the word was spreading by mouth all over the country that there are Western devotees of Gauranga who are traveling around, and they didn't know Krishna consciousness was spread all over the world. So this social worker was coming and saying, it's very good what you're doing. For years we've been fighting this Christian conversion, and now it's practically stopped, especially wherever your devotees go. Christian conversion completely stops, and some people even convert back. So we were needling him a bit. He's saying, anyway, what's the use of converting? Because if they're a Christian, they eat fish and meat, but Hindus do also. They mostly don't get meat or fish, but if they can, they'll eat. So what's the benefit? And we were just pushing him like this. We're making the point they have to actually become serious. And then after a little, he said, if they're Hindus, they'll be more inclined to say Gauranga. I said, okay, all right. That's a good enough reason for being a Hindu. Why they're saying, they don't know. Or what's the meaning? They don't know. But what benefit they'll get from that. We're not particularly interested who wins the elections, but a few elections ago, American presidential election, one of the candidates, his name was Al Gore, and the other one was George, which Bush? W. Bush, one of the Bushes. And anyway, George Bush won by cheating in the end. Everyone knows he won by cheating. It's not even, they don't even try to hide it. But we were hoping Al Gore would get elected. Why? Because of his policies? No. Because then all people all over the world would be saying, Gore, Gore, Gore. So they'd get benefited. They don't know why or how, but they'd be benefited. Anyway, Kali won that election, for sure. And see the results afterwards also. Kali wins every election. When's there going to be a Vaisnava who wins? We have to do more chanting. Do chanting, preaching. Make them fortunate. Don't think, I am a Vaishnava, therefore by coming in contact with me, they'll be fortunate, therefore I can talk nonsense, to make some entertainment show, or please them in the way they want to be pleased, and then by coming in contact with me, they'll become fortunate. But in the meantime, you became unfortunate by not talking about or not giving Krishna. So we can do some things to attract people, but we have to give them the real thing. We have to give them Krishna. That's the point. Hare Krishna. Okay, that's that. Finished? Now, are there any questions about all this? Yeah. Someone becomes fortunate by coming in association with devotees, takes up Krishna consciousness, and very quickly advances. All desires come back later, when it seems they're very advanced. The karmis in the West, they talk about midlife syndrome, or midlife crisis, yeah, in which around the age 40 to 50, people start thinking, when they realize the parabola's gone to the top and now they're on the way down, then they start to think, oh, I better start enjoying myself as I was. What did I want to do as a kid, as a child? And it happens with devotees also. One devotee told me his wife, at the age of about 50, she started taking interest in all the rock groups she used to listen to as a child or teenager. Even though those groups, hardly anyone even knows about them now. And she left him because she wanted to enjoy herself. How does it happen? Well, technically that would be called prakshepatmika vritti of Maya, the kicking potency, or throwing you back. There's the avaranatmika vritti, the tendency of Maya to just cover everyone. And they're more or less on pilot. Maya doesn't have to worry much about them. They do their pious and sinful activities and they get different bodies. Yeah, Purusha Sukha Dukhanam Bhuktritve Hetu Ruchate. It goes on just. But then if someone tries to come out, then Maya has her throw them back down again. She gets into overdrive. So that's one explanation. So, because of previous. We can understand if someone takes a devotional service enthusiastically and very quickly, that is due to previous contact with devotional service. But sometimes we see people take it very quickly and leave very quickly also. So that's not as advanced. Obviously they weren't as advanced in a previous life as someone who comes and stays for quite some time and then go away. But just like in this purport we read, Srila Prabhupada states that about the Sariraka-bhasya, it should not be touched at all. He states the Mayavada commentary, Sariraka-bhasya is like poison for a Vaisnava. It should not be touched at all. This is in the discussion between Bhagavan Acharya, whose brother, this Gopal Bhattacharya, I believe his name was, had become a great Mayavadi scholar. And he wanted, he came to Puri where Bhagavan Acharya had come to Puri to live with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he was reciting this, and Bhagavan Acharya was taking some pleasure in this. And Sarup Damodar is telling him, "This, don't forget it. Just leave it. Don't touch this at all." And then Bhagavan Acharya says, "Come on, we're all fixed up devotees. We're not going to change because of this." And Sarup Damodar said, "Yeah, you can do. It can happen. Then you become, you fall down by hearing that. Even if one's a fixed devotee. So it may be that one becomes complacent in devotional service and thinks that, yeah, now I'm fixed up. I can't fall down. That's the beginning of Maya. To think like that for an advanced devotee. Another thing is, Srila Prabhupada said we should always give the devotees new challenges. If we become complacent in our devotional service, that we're going on year after year steadily, then it's the nature of the mind to want something to do, some challenge in the service of Krishna. Not that many devotees can just sit and do bhajan. There should be some challenge. If we want to take it easy, then we're in trouble. So push ourselves or get pushed by others. Double it, Prabhupada said. Double the book distribution every year. If that was going on, within a few years, we'd come to a stage where we'd have to distribute more books than there are people on the planet. If you double, and then again double, and then again double, and then again, it wouldn't take long before. So it's a great challenge. So the challenge, something to strive, really try to do something hard in Krishna's service. And then you have to pray to Krishna. To distribute books, you have to pray to Krishna. Otherwise, we can't do it on a long-term basis. We can't keep on going. So yeah, Maya doesn't stop. Offenses can be there also. Yeah. There are various causes of fall down. Sensual fall down due to offenses to devotees, fall down due to loss of faith, or that may be a symptom more than a cause. Making offenses may be a symptom also. It's all complex, isn't it? Hare Krishna. Anything else? Anyone like to say? Yeah, always be careful. Kshurasya dhara. What is that? Kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya. What's the next line? Durgang patas tat kavayo vadanti. This spiritual life is like razor's edge. Very careful. You can shave yourself thoroughly, or if you're not careful, cut yourself. It's a difficult path to traverse, say the sages. Utishta jagrata prapya varang debodata. Kshurasya dhara nishita duratyaya durgang patas tat kavayo vadanti. So get up, wake up, become aware of what a boon we have in the human form of life. At the same time, be careful. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Hare Krishna.